Oklahoma Sooners fans, college football fans, welcome into a very special edition, special for many reasons, special edition of Oklahoma at the Voice of College Football. This is Oklahoma Sooners Live. I'm your host, Josh Mahler, and today, folks, we have a lot to get into. We have a lot to talk about because Oklahoma just put together one heck of a recruiting class, regardless of what many may say and regardless of how Sooners fans have felt leading up to this day. It was a great recruiting class. National Signing Day 2025, the 2026 class, early signing day is in the books, and the Sooners just inked 24 high school prospects with letters of intent, 24 players. Let that sink in for just a moment. That's a class, a full class, a class full of a bunch of good players that we'll talk about, most of them tonight. It was a great class. And when you look at where this thing finished, we're talking about a top 15 national ranking from most services, where Rivals ranks Oklahoma right around 16th nationally. But what matters more than just the ranking there and everything on paper is that this is Brent Venables' vision coming to life, coming to fruition, and it's the first full recruiting class led by Oklahoma's new general manager, Jim Nagy. And let me tell you right now, the timing really couldn't be any better. It's a perfect time for Oklahoma to have this kind of momentum leading into and through the recruiting class, because OU just finished with a 10-2 regular season record. They're in position to host a first-round college football playoff game where it stands right now, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. And now you walk into living rooms across the nation, across the country, with that kind of momentum, being able to say, all right, now here's the pen and paper, let's make that commitment. And from most of the recruits, from those of who I've been able to talk to, from those of who I hope to be talking to here in the next couple of days, and from those who I just know I've heard from other sources about, they felt every one of these recruits felt very confident about their decision in Oklahoma because of all of this momentum around Oklahoma right now. It's a great day to be a Sooner. It's a great time to be a Sooner because there's so much to be happy about. A great recruiting class, a 10-2 record from a season that most were saying Oklahoma was lucky to win 6, a season where even yours truly predicted probably 8-4. I was hopeful for 10-2. That was what my hopes were. If this team is what I think it can be, 10-2 is on the table. And even after the Texas win, I sat here in this chair and I said, and I looked at that camera and I spoke into this microphone saying, listen, calm down, guys. 10-2 is still on the table. 11-1 was still on the table at that moment, but I said it's very unlikely. 10-2 is still possible. And of course, being Ole Miss, Alabama, Tennessee, those were 3 games that I just said, listen, if you can get away with losing just one of those, you finish the season 10-2, and we're looking at this. And I wasn't confident in that. I'm not going to sit here and say that I talked it into existence, but I was just trying to be that light of hope. And sure enough, this is where we're at. And now after today, a great class, and that's how you close out a 2026 class. That's how you build a program. That's how you build some momentum going further and going into the future too. So today we're going deep. We're going into all 24 signees, the storylines, a little bit about these guys, the surprises, what all this means for Oklahoma football, and what it means for them moving forward in the SEC. Let's get into it. First, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching anywhere other than YouTube, jump over to the YouTube channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to support us just a little bit further, you can become a member today for as low as just $2.99 a month. Become a member. It helps us keep on doing a lot of great things. We've got some really fun things. I know today's episode was moved. This should have been aired yesterday. It's from scheduling issues, and so I apologize, but we moved it to today. I think it worked out really well because we have a lot to cover today alone just from what happened today. But we also have a lot to cover from what happened today going into tomorrow. So we'll still have our Thursday live show, so make sure to tune in tomorrow because we'll talk a little bit about the SEC championship game, what that means for Oklahoma, a little bit further into depth. We have a ton that we can talk about here in the next couple of days, even on a week where Oklahoma's not playing any football. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But to support us just a little bit further, become a member today by clicking the link down in the description below. Otherwise, right beside our name, you can click join. $2.99 each month. It just goes towards supporting the channel, helping us keep on growing. We've got shows on Sundays, Mondays with the Sooner Smiths, and then, of course, Tuesdays, typically, Thursdays, and then Saturdays is when we do our post-game shows, also with the Sooner Smiths. So it helps us keep on growing here. So please just consider supporting the show just a little bit further. But let's get into it. And I wanted to start because this is something that I wanted to be able to cover yesterday, but of course, with some of the scheduling issues, some of the things kind of getting in the way of being able to get into it yesterday, weren't able to get to it. So we're going to start off with this. And it was a clip from Joel Klatt, and we've already covered Joel Klatt once this season. We could have covered some of what he's been saying about Oklahoma several times throughout this season, but Joel Klatt just keeps on kind of making a fool of himself when talking about Oklahoma. And he just never learns from his lesson to just stop talking crap about Oklahoma and just spewing lies, and then also just being flat out wrong about Oklahoma. There's been several times we covered earlier in the season where he said Oklahoma is a pretender. This was after they beat Michigan too, I believe. He said Oklahoma is a pretender. And then here they are going into the playoffs. And he said Oklahoma is not a playoff team. They won't make it. And throughout the season, he keeps on kind of talking this way, talking down about Oklahoma for the same reason that I think a lot of people have been kind of insecure about Oklahoma. And I understand the drawback to Oklahoma. But let's just listen to this clip real quick from Joel Klatt.
The weakest resume, and I know that sounds crazy and you guys are going to scoff at me, is OU. You know, if you look at the predictive measures, the Sagarin ratings, the S&P Plus, like they don't like OU. And that OU team, if you're just watching the film and you're doing this off of eye test, I mean, OU is the worst of all.
All right, so I just want to start off with that. First, he said Oklahoma's resume, talking bad about Oklahoma's resume. Who in the country has a better resume than Oklahoma? Are you talking about the most top 25 wins, the most ranked wins? Are you talking about the fact that they had to go on the road with their backs against the wall and not allowed to lose another game? Otherwise, their playoff hopes were completely destroyed. With their backs against the wall, they went on the road in Knoxville and beat a tough Tennessee team. They went on the road to Tuscaloosa to beat a tough Alabama team and closed it out with a tough Missouri team who had their starter quarterback come back in and actually looked fairly good. I know he was coming off that ankle injury, but it didn't affect the way he was throwing the ball or anything. I mean, there's some that definitely takes away from Bo Perbula. Don't get me wrong there, but it's still a tough Missouri team. You close that out and dominate them, not even let them into the end zone. And you close it out with LSU, who put their best foot forward and was fighting tooth and nail, and Oklahoma had to struggle. I mean, you could say that they struggled, but they had to fight with their backs against the wall and find a way to close out that last stretch of the season. They had a bad loss against Texas. I will give you that. They lost a really close one that they really should have won. We can sit here and talk about should-haves and what-ifs and all that, all we want, but I won't go into that. But a game that they really could have won, they lost a really close one with Ole Miss. Nobody's sitting here and talking about Ole Miss not making it to the college football playoffs, even though they don't have their head coach anymore. Their head coach just left them, and they went up in the rankings. All of this, like this whole narrative that Joel Klatt wants to start off with is that they don't fit the eye test. How do you look at this Oklahoma defense and just act like no one they would? And anyways, the eye test, I think that the eye test says their offense isn't good, but the defense finds a way to win. And Joel Klatt should know better because he remembers 90s football. He remembers Nebraska back in the 90s, Miami back in the 90s. I'm trying to think. Notre Dame would have been a tough team back then. I'm trying to think of some other really tough ones. Oklahoma earlier on, maybe in like the 70s, 80s would have been that type of team where it was just gritty, hard-nosed. You're more physical. You are determined on the defensive side of the ball. You know what Oklahoma has done really well here in the last 4 games? They have turned the ball over, and a lot of media heads just want to say that's luck. That is Oklahoma seeking after those turnovers. They're not just falling into a fumble or just happening to be in the right place and catch a ball. They are going after the ball. Jaden Hardy on the punt return. What game was that? Alabama, I believe, correct? And he goes after and punches the ball coming from behind. He was behind the return man and comes from behind, makes the extra effort, and punches the ball out. That is an effort. That's something that's striving after that. Anyways, let's finish what Joel Klatt has to say.
Teams. You can get all the way to Miami, and it's like if any of those teams play OU this week, I think those teams win the game. Look at how many yards Alabama had in that game. I mean, they outgained them by 200 yards almost or more. So I know that they won that game, but a lot of it was turnovers. That offense is so poor. So watch out for OU, where they go. If Notre Dame passes them, I think the team that has...
All right, so I'm going to cut him off there. All right, so he says that anyone in the top 12 going down to Miami would beat Oklahoma. And he uses Alabama as a valid, like as if he thinks that was a smart comparison. Look at Alabama. Even Alabama, any one of these teams would beat Oklahoma. Guess what, Joel Klatt? You've been saying that for how many weeks now? I would imagine. I don't know for sure. Fact check me on this, please. Who did Joel Klatt pick between Oklahoma and Michigan? I would venture to say that he probably picked Michigan. Guess what? He was wrong on that. Shortly after the Michigan game, he said that Oklahoma was a pretender, and we covered that here on the show. He said that Oklahoma was a pretender, that they won't make it to the playoffs, that they won't win many games. He thought that Oklahoma was nothing. All season long, he kept on talking bad about Oklahoma. All season long, he doubted Oklahoma. This right here, so there's a point where it comes from like the clickbaity, hating a team type of takes, and just maybe being critical of a team. If you were to say that Oklahoma, hey, if there's a team I look at in this playoff that's interesting, it's Oklahoma because the offense is so bad. The offense is bad, and none of us would argue against that. But what makes Oklahoma interesting is that, yeah, a lot of the teams would probably be favored over Oklahoma, and they still find a way to win. He used Alabama and said, yeah, they beat Alabama. Alabama had almost doubled their yards. But it was a lot of that was just turnovers. That's how they beat them, as if it was just luck. Again, like I said, Oklahoma has been seeking after those turnovers. Oklahoma has fought for those turnovers. I am tired of Joel Klatt. I'm fed up with him. The thing with Joel Klatt is that Oklahoma moved to the SEC, and the SEC doesn't have a Fox deal anymore. I don't know what else to put it on. I don't like talking bad about guys, especially Joel Klatt, who I have respected in the past. This season, he's been nothing but just terrible takes about Oklahoma, and he's wrong time after time. And every time that he's proven wrong about Oklahoma's offense can't score enough to beat Alabama, and then they turn around to score just enough to beat Alabama. The defense does just enough to beat Alabama, and he still comes up with a take like this, that Oklahoma wouldn't beat any one of the top 12s. Get out of here with that. Oklahoma ranked number 8 this week, and guess what, Joe Klatt? They're not dropping out. The committee would have bumped them down below Notre Dame at this point. And I don't recall if I think that clip. I'm pretty sure I do recall now. That clip would have been before the college football playoff rankings dropped yesterday. But Oklahoma's ranked number 8, sitting there in a really good spot. And really, the only messy thing for Oklahoma is if Alabama were to win. That could make things messy. If Alabama and BYU were to win, that could really shake some things up. If BYU were to win and Alabama were to lose, that really gets interesting to me. There's a lot of things about the playoffs. We'll talk a little bit more about the playoff scenario tomorrow. So tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We moved today's show. It was yesterday it was supposed to air. I had some scheduling conflicts, but I really wanted to get to a lot of what we have here tonight, and so we moved it to tonight. The reason why we did it at 6 is because at 7, OU Insider has a great coverage starting. So make sure to jump over to OU Insider's page after this show and check out what Parker and Brandon have set up over there. The whole team over there at OU Insider, what they've got set up over there for National Signing Day. But let's get into National Signing Day. A huge National Signing Day, as we started off the show with. If you missed that part, you can go back and listen to the long lead up into this point. But we're going to break down the players. And before we break down the players, I want to talk about kind of the philosophy behind this class, because it's different. It's different than years past. And if you listen to Brent Venables after the signings, he kept hammering home the same points: depth, targets, and process. There was a lot that he really dove into and kept on bringing up, and it was between those three: the depth, the targets, and just the process behind this entire recruiting class. So here's what he said that really stood out to me. One quote that he said, and I'll read this off. Quote, he said, "We really hit all the targets we set out to. It's been a long several months. I don't know how long it's been since we started. Many of these guys, several of them, we've been recruiting for a couple cycles now." That last part is really key, because this class wasn't built on quick flips or last-minute panic offers. For example, I think Jet New last year would have been kind of one of those that I can think of as an example. Kind of a last-minute panic offer that you pull him away from Oklahoma State to hurry up and secure him, because Oklahoma didn't have a quarterback in that class, and Ben Arbuckle was a big part of that. So anyways, there wasn't any of that this recruiting cycle. This was a very intentional, methodical recruiting class, and a lot of that credit goes towards Jim Nagy and what he's been able to do. He came in as the general manager, and immediately he implemented what a lot of folks kept on calling the Moneyball approach to recruiting. And I don't agree with that description. I don't like it. I believe Jim Nagy just knows how to evaluate really well, and even better than those who make the star ratings from high school players. And I'll get into some of that as we get through the guys that signed today. Now, I know that term, that Moneyball term, it gets thrown around a lot. And here's what it actually means for Oklahoma and how Jim Nagy has lined it up. It means that you're not overspending for a 5-star player just because they have 5 stars next to their name. Jim Nagy, he was crystal clear about this whenever everyone was kind of criticizing him for it. He wants players who fit the system. He wants players who have traits that you can develop. And he wants players who bring some sort of versatility. And he wants violent players, and that's what this class really delivers. And it fits the scheme specifically for what him and Brent Venables and the rest of this coaching staff and front office all set out to go and get. So this was a recruiting class. I have always paid attention to recruiting classes, and I've always looked at them, and I've always seen what we get in the recruiting class. And there's been some recruiting classes that I'm like, oh man, I'm really excited about this or that. This recruiting class, because of the intentionality behind it, this is the most excited I have been about a recruiting class, I think, ever. I mean, it might be because it's the first one that I've really followed from start to finish, I suppose, the way that I've covered it. But it's also just because I'm not even that good of a football. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know football really well. I think I know it better than the average Joe, and I could explain it and teach it, to a fairly good level. But I'm not some ball knower. But I can see the layout that's coming from this recruiting class, and specifically when you dive into 2027, you see even more of a layout and how intentional all of this feels. Going back to the Lincoln Riley, who actually had the best recruiting class, and so I don't want to talk him down or anything, but going back to the Lincoln Riley recruiting classes, none of those really felt as planned out as this recruiting class specifically, and going into 2027, and there's even some in 2028 that it's like, okay, yeah, I see where you're going with it. It's if you really pay attention, it's all painted out very clearly, and we'll get to it as we get through some of these guys. But Venables, he even kind of talked about the position flexibility being really huge in this. He said, quote, "It's really important for us to be efficient from a roster standpoint, find guys that have great position flexibility when you can." So you see throughout this class, there's going to be a lot of guys who can fill in really fill in multiple spots on the roster. Guys who might be projected as one way, but have the athleticism and the versatility to move around. That, again, that is what makes this recruiting class so special, because it's not just recruiting. That's smart roster management. It's building a program to a specific view, to a specific, I mean, it's molding. I mean, it really is a master class. And I feel like I'm talking this class up a little too high, and I apologize for that. But I'm telling you guys, I really feel special about this class in a way that I haven't felt about any recruiting class that I've ever seen. And I'm not just talking about Oklahoma's. I recognize that I'm biased, and I think a lot of it too is just a lot of the high that us as Oklahoma fans are on right now, coming from going 10-2 and all of that. But you see throughout this class just how everything fits perfectly. Guys who are able to go around, and also it's really good management in the era of the transfer portal and also the 85-man roster limits. So with that framework in mind, let's kind of break it down position by position real quick. And starting on the offense, and a huge shout out to Parker Thune. I actually used his notes. I believe it was Parker Thune went through a really extensive over on OU Insider. So if you're not a member of OU Insider, I'm always going to shout out my guys over there. Parker Thune did a really him and Brandon and Jesse, all of them have done a really good job leading up to this point, and then now through signing day. Jesse had some really good ones that I was reading earlier today, but Parker had one kind of introducing some of the guys, and I got a lot of insight from what he was able to put out. I believe that was yesterday. But anyway, starting off with quarterback Bo Bentley, because it's where every program has to start. It's at the quarterback position, and Oklahoma landed a really good one here. He's a 4-star quarterback, Bo Bentley, out of Salina, Texas. Rivals has him rated as the number 6 quarterback prospect in the entire 2026 cycle, the number 2 dual threat quarterback in the class. And here's what makes Bo Bentley special to me. Not just to me, but I think just obvious. This is an obvious one. He's never lost a game as a starter, as a starting quarterback in high school. Never lost a game. Never. He's undefeated. And he's doing it at the highest level of Texas high school football, too. He's chasing his second straight state title. And right now, the kid's got a sling on his arm right now because he's fighting through an injury. And he's still gutting that out and trying to fight through for a championship. And Brent Venables today, he made a really interesting comparison. And I see this from many ways. He said Bentley reminds him of Sam Bradford from a temperament standpoint, is how he did. He said, quote, he's never too high, never too low. Every environment he's in, he loves to compete. He's year-round, stay busy. The other thing that I thought when he first said that, like I mentioned, Bo Bentley's still in a sling, but he's going to be fighting for a state championship. He's still planning on playing to fight with his team. He knows that there's one more game, there's one more goal, and he wants it. He wants it not just for him, but he wants it for his team. That was very Bradford-like of him. And so, yeah, I like that comparison a lot. Play style, maybe not. There might be some comparisons that you might be able to pull it out there, but I know more from the temperament standpoint is what Brent Venables was talking about. And I suppose that does kind of go into temperament, personality, when you talk about the leadership of and what he brings to the table there. Of I don't care that my arm's in a shoulder, or my arm is in a sling. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to play to win this championship for my guys, or with my guys. Here's what I really like about Bo Bentley's recruitment. So Bentley's family, all of them, lifelong Sooners. I love that. I know a lot of Oklahoma fans really like that. His brother already signed to play baseball at OU, so I know I'll be down there watching him and covering him here the next couple of years. Bentley himself, he attended every single home game this season, every one of them. So when he committed back in June, choosing Oklahoma over LSU and Georgia, it wasn't just about football. It was about coming home. It was about coming somewhere where he felt like this could be a part of his home. And Jim Nagy pointed out that something that should make every Sooner fan excited, really. He said, seeing Bo, the cool thing with Bo is being so close to home. He's been here basically every week. He's been around this team. He's seen this team. He's seen why this team has been successful, the grittiness by this team to go 10-2, and he's just been around it. It feels like Bo's been a part of this team. So, I mean, this is your future leader right now. He's getting embedded into this program, into the culture, before he even steps foot on campus. That's truly amazing. Bo Bentley, it's the obvious one to go to the quarterback, and so for that obvious sake, that is the one that, man, I'm most excited about, just overall from the long-term standpoint of Bo Bentley. And I mean, go over to his huddle. And his huddle film. Go back to his junior season too. His junior season, he threw over 3,000 yards, like 47 touchdowns, something like that. Maybe 37 touchdowns. He threw a lot of touchdowns, and he threw for like 70% in his junior year. And his senior year stats are very impressive too. I don't have any of his stats written down. I just remember looking at his junior film here just not too long ago. But the kid is very talented, and we'll talk a little bit more about him, especially as he gets into Norman. But now let's go to the running backs. Another really fun one. Man, guys, just go and watch the film of these guys. That's the only way I can try to express how I feel about them, the excitement that I'm building up. And I promise you, I'm typically kind of more very leery about high school recruits. And especially in today, right, with the transfer portal and all of that, how that can go haywire. I'm like alarmingly too excited about some of these guys. In the running back room, another one of those rooms. Talk about the backfield. All right, so this is probably one of the biggest stories of this class. You got Jonathan Hatton Jr. out of Cibolo Steel. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but Cibolo Steel in Texas. He's a 4-star, number 5 running back in the country. And man, what a journey from Jonathan Hatton. Hatton was actually Oklahoma's first commitment in this entire 2026 class, committed way back in October of 2023. Talk about just way back. And in December of 2024, he decommitted, flipped to Texas A&M in March. And for most of the year, we basically thought that he was gone. The entire year of 2025, we thought, well, Jonathan Hatton's gone. That running back that was filling that void in that recruiting class, how are we going to find a way to replace it? But DeMarco Murray never stopped recruiting him. The relationship there never ended. And 2 weeks before signing day, bam, just like that, Jonathan Hatton flips his commitment back to Oklahoma, full circle. And that's what Brent Venables was talking about and what he meant when he said it's about relationships, when he's talking about recruiting. I've heard him say that several times in press conferences. He might have said it again today about it's just about the relationships. Jonathan Hatton, he's a 6'2", 220-pound running back who, man, like go back and watch his highlights over on Huddle. He can fly. He's got elite size. I mean, 6'2", 220 pounds. He's got elite size, guys. I mean, just huge. He's also got a lot of burst, physicality, loves to run through guys. He's strong. He comes from one of the best programs in Texas, and he is a foundational piece. Obviously, that's why they were pushing for him back in 2023, as early as 2023, and he was the first guy that they got to sign for a good reason, and the reason why they pushed for him so hard. He is a foundational piece, a piece that you can build around. Then you got DeZephan Walker, who I was really excited to see commit to Oklahoma because of the void of Jonathan Hatton. Obviously now, even better that you got both of them. But DeZephan Walker from Missouri, he's from Peculiar, Missouri. I didn't write that down, but Peculiar, Missouri. He's a 3-star, and you can say all you want about 3-stars. Go watch the tape. I mean, don't talk bad about 3-stars until you watch the tape, because some 3-stars you can watch and be like, yeah, they're good, but I can see why they're just a 3-star and not a 4. There's some I don't know. There might be a couple 3 stars in this class that you can go and watch the tape and say, yeah, okay, that's a 3 star. There might be a couple. That is why I believe in Jim Nagy's his eye for talent. But anyways, DeZephan Walker, 3 star. He's the number 27 running back nationally. And Oklahoma got in really late. That was here this. I'm trying to remember exactly. It might have been just before the season started. Yeah, it was back in May. I had that written down. But they ended up closing the deal pretty quickly with him. I expected that to be drawn out a little bit further, but he committed really quick to Oklahoma. He took one official visit and was sold. I love that. I love that he came to Oklahoma and he felt at home. He felt like that was a part. And I know earlier on when we talked about DeZephan Walker, he ended up talking about his relationship with DeMarco Murray being a big part of it. Even though his high school team went 0-10 this year, he put out a really good tape and multiple game day visits to Norman. You can't win 10 games with one guy. That's really. I mean, if you go back and look at his tape, you'd be like, how did they lose? Yeah, I don't know. So it's a little concerning. I'm not going to brush that under the rug, but I like his tape a lot. I wouldn't have been able to tell you that they lost, that they went 0-10 by looking at his tape. So now Oklahoma has 2 running backs, both with a very high upside. I think DeZephan Walker has the lower floor, but man, almost just as high of a ceiling as Jonathan Hatton. And I think that's a really hot take. Jonathan Hatton has a higher ceiling, no doubt, but DeZephan Walker might have just as high of a ceiling. Again, watching the tape, that's how you really know how you feel. And there's certain guys you can just really feel good. But let's go over to wide receivers, the 2 wide receivers, some late flips here in the wide receiver room. And this is one, man, that wide receiver room was getting roasted in this recruiting class. But it might be one of my favorite position groups in this class. And let's start with the guy that Oklahoma chased the hardest. And this is one that I kept on hinting to since probably about May, I think it was about May, but when he got, no, it was back in June. So back in June is whenever I said, all right, he committed, and everyone was freaking out, but just hold on, guys. And I know I said that about him several times here on this show even. But it was Jaden Petit. He's 6'4", 215-pound wideout from Naples, Florida. I mean, 6'4", that's NFL measurables in high school. He was committed to Wisconsin back in June, but Oklahoma kept on chipping away. They kept on going after him. The whole time, even though he committed to Wisconsin, there were several factors why I believed that Oklahoma was going to get Jaden Petit. But the reason why is the biggest reason why is I was like, Wisconsin's not good. Wisconsin's not good, and Oklahoma is going after him hard still. They kept in contact with him. They kept that relationship going, and they still went after him. And so they kept on going. On Thanksgiving Day, Oklahoma finally got his conflipment, I guess you can call it, flipped over to Oklahoma. And Venables called him a freakazoid. I like that word. I used to use that word a lot back in the day. It used to be more like a diss, I think, like a tear down, but it's not at all in this situation. I felt really weird saying this sitch. But anyways, when you watch this film, you understand what Brent Venables means by that. And it's a good thing. He's got great straight line speed, just being able to bust off the line of scrimmage, really precise in his route running, and just when he gets the ball, his elusiveness in the open field is really incredible. If he didn't end up flipping back over to Oklahoma, I would not have felt very good about this wide receiver. I still would have felt good because the other guys that Oklahoma got were solid gets, but I would have felt really disappointed in this wide receiver class that we didn't get him. And we'll talk about the other 2 here in just a minute, but the other 3. But man, I really wanted Jaden Petit, and it's an obvious reason why I wanted him so badly. Anyways, Jim Nagy, he said that he was one of his favorite players on the board when he got here in March. And this is one of those guys that he believes that can step in and contribute immediately. So Jaden Petit, really good one, really great get for Oklahoma today, and getting him to sign the paper. That was one that Jim Nagy was excited about getting to. You could see that he tweeted earlier today and said something along the lines of, "Jaden Petit just now signed. It's over. We're good. We got it. We did it." Also, JCR Rogers. I know I'm probably butchering a lot of these names. I apologize. I'm not gonna know how to say their names probably. But JCR Rogers, out of Delaware, first Delaware native in modern recruiting era to sign with Oklahoma out of high school. He was a longtime Penn State commit, and then whenever James Franklin got fired, Oklahoma pounced on him, tried to get him. An official visit late October ended up sealing the deal. He's 5'11", 180 pounds, but he's one of those guys that kind of reminds you, like, what, I don't know the size of Isaiah Satania, but he kind of reminds me of what Isaiah Satania has been doing here this year. It could be similar to what, I don't like making comparisons. I'm just going to stop there. Anyways, he could be a dynamic weapon, a guy with return game ability too. So keep an eye out for that as well. Then you got Daniel Odom, California St. Bosco's, one of the best programs in America, not even just California. But, excuse me, he committed to January, shut down his recruitment in July, despite the pushes from a lot of big-time schools. I think Washington and Florida State, if I remember correctly, were both pushing really hard for him. But Daniel Odom stayed with Oklahoma the entire time. He's a polished, really shifty, run any route you want him to. And then there's Xavier. We're just going to call him ZZ Okofuluweze. I know I butchered that last name, and I apologize. Say that 3 times fast. I know you can't. I can't say it 1 time fast. Xavier Okofuluweze, something like that. Anyway, ZZ. We'll just call him ZZ. One of the Lone State representatives from Owasso, Oklahoma. He was a basketball player who picked up football late and had a breakout junior year. Immediately committed to Oklahoma. Offered when they offered it in September, and then you have Arkansas, TCU, Oklahoma State, who all offered for him as well. But he waited on the Sooners, and when the Sooners pitched their offer over to him, he took it right away. He's 6'4", right around 6'4", with room to grow, and he's pushing 200 pounds. I mean, he's athletic too. So, I mean, the sky's the limit for him. This is a really good, I think between ZZ and Jaden Petit, those are the two that really, really big. And then, of course, Daniel Odom with what he's able to do, really shifty, any ground route. These 4 wide receivers alone, you give them a couple of years, man, and this could be really special. I mean, Jaden Petit might contribute right away. He might be one of those guys that's just like that freshman freak that steps out and does something for Oklahoma. Let's get to the tight ends. 2 tight ends in this class, both really interesting. Starting with Tyler Ruxer, 4-star out of Indiana, Rivals number 19 overall tight end. And special, he's a speedy tight end. He's a fast tight end. You know what? Jaron Kanik, I think that's a pretty good comparison in his play style, although I think Tyler Ruxer's bigger and obviously gives you what a tight end should be able to give you in all ends of the court. So this was a huge pickup for Oklahoma. The biggest pickup that Joe John Finley's ever gotten, I think. I don't know for sure, but I would gander to say that. He ran 11 flat on 100-meter dash. Jim Nagy actually found him scrolling through high school track times. That's how he ended up coming across him. He was looking for speed. So again, this is what Jim Nagy does. He looks for specific things in a player. And he comes across Tyler Ruxer by looking at high school track times. And he's like, that's a tight end? Yeah, give me that. Give me that. I want that. That's the money ball approach right there. Ruxer, I mean, he has, I'll probably say elite too much, but he has elite athleticism. Watch him play, man. He can play wide receiver. He can play that inline slot special teams, but he's a tight end. So, teams were trying really hard to flip him all the way to the end. I was kind of nervous that Indiana might have been able to take him. So the fact that they got Tyler Ruxer, that they got Tyler Ruxer. Sorry, I was putting an N in there on his name for some reason in my head. But the fact that they got him, that was a really good pickup, one of the best tight end pickups in a long time. All right, then there's Ryder Mix, and yes, he's a legacy. His father, Austin, pitched for OU baseball team back in the early 2000s. He committed back in June of 2024, making him the longest tenured pledge in the entire class, mainly because of what Hatton did, flipping his commitment and then coming back to Oklahoma. He's 6'4", 220 pounds, really the complete tight end. This is a really good pickup. The concerning part is that he did tear his ACL in his senior year, so he'll rehab when he gets to Norman. Brent Venables talked about him as mean as a snake. That's the kind of toughness that you're looking for here on Oklahoma's team. Going over to the offensive line, Oklahoma's been doing really good on the offensive line here, specifically in this class and then leading into next class. But let's go through it. You've got two guys that really stand out. You got Deacon Schmidt from Colorado, 6'5", 310 pounds. Let me say that again. 6'5", 310 pounds. 4-star Rivals number 22 interior offensive lineman. He committed in June over Colorado and Alabama. Two really impressive gets, or two impressive teams to get him over, because for one, Alabama, don't need to say anything there, but Colorado, because he's from Colorado, and Dion is a really, really good recruiter. His whole staff, they're really good recruiters. They pull out some really tough tricks to be able to beat. So Oklahoma being able to get him, again, 6'5", 310 pounds. Do I need to say anything more? He can play tackle, play inside, to guard. Jim Nagy, he talked about him. He called him an absolute bully. Again, looking for that killer in these guys. I mean, they're looking for something specific, and I love it. I don't know how you can't. Going to be one of the benchmark offensive linemen that they want moving forward. But then also Noah Best, another really big one to pull out here from this class. From Texas, originally from the Tulsa area. He's a 3-star. Say all you want about a 3-star, but he's number 45 interior offensive lineman in the class. He's one of those guys, again, he can play center or guard inside. So he can shift around. Again, we talked about versatility being a big part of this class. Noah Best is one of those guys, and this was a really good get. Don't pay attention to the stars. I'm telling you, don't pay attention to the stars. This is one of them that, just give it a couple years. I think Noah Best, this might be the guy that you're like, how on earth was he ever a 3-star? This is incredible. This is the guy that is going to shock a lot of people. I'm going to make my call right now. From what I've seen, it's really dumb that he's a 3-star, in my opinion. And I'm no expert, so I might be wrong. Bookmark it. I might be wrong, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Anyways, they're kind of projecting him to the center position long-term, I believe. Kind of that long-term goal for him. He's got some really just refined technique, just really good. Another position flexible piece that makes what Nagy wanted to build around. So another really good one. Let's see here. Specialists. Got to go to the specialists real quick. You can't overlook Trace Rudd, 3-star kicker from Kansas, left-footed, just like our current guy, Tate Sandell. So hey, I like that. And I really like Trace on social media, man. He's been one of the most positive guys, Oklahoma positive guys. I'm really excited for him as a specialist. So I don't know that there's a whole lot that I can say about him. Venables says that he thinks he's the best kicker in the country coming out of high school. Said when Rudd was back in camp, he said, quote, let me see if I can find it here. You just close your eyes and hear the leg speed and explosiveness. Probably a hyperbole, but I mean, it's true. First scholarship, this is pretty crazy. First scholarship specialist that OU has signed under Venables. That's how you know that they think he's special. That's incredible. Really excited about that. All right, let's jump over to the defense. Got some edge rushers. Let's see here. let's start off with the highest ranked prospect in the entire class. Jake Krill, 5-star/4-star. He's a 4-star according to Rivals. I'll go based off that. I'm really surprised that they haven't moved it up to a 5-star. He's deserving of it. Go, man. Again, another guy that just go watch his tape. This is a 5-star guy. You just watch him. You watch him in his camps. Jake Krill is a 5-star guy. He's the number 8 edge prospect in the country, number 46 overall, regardless of the position. Jake Krill, he's from IMG Academy in Florida, 6'2", 223 pounds. I see. This is going to sound really stupid, I think. Like, now that I'm saying it in my head, I see like an aggressive, and again, that sounds crazy to say, an aggressive R. Mason Thomas. That's scary to think because R. Mason Thomas is aggressive. I'm not cutting down R. Mason at all. Like, R. Mason, I love the kid. I love that guy so much. I love watching him play. He's amazing. Jake Krill, with the ability to still be developed, that's scary. He might be a 4-year starter, a 3-year starter, because he's probably gonna. I mean, I don't know if you can keep him around after 3 years, but watch out. Jake Krill, crazy. Oklahoma beat Texas head-to-head for him. He committed back in August, one of those pass rushers that really changes the game for Oklahoma. So Venables actually described the defensive line group as having great length, power, size, quickness, and instincts. And obviously, Jake Krill is the centerpiece around that. Going over to Matthew Nelson. Sorry, I'm going to try to speed through this. I'm trying not to interfere with OU Insider here tonight, but we have a lot to cover. Matthew Nelson from Arkansas, 4-star, number 44 edge. He was the second Power 4, Oklahoma was the second Power 4 school to offer him. So they made him a really high priority from day one, found him early before a lot of other teams. He's 6'5", 215 pounds. Again, finding sizable guys. This is different. So back in earlier days, you had guys like, I think Nick Benito might have been one of those smaller ones. I think Obo Okoronkwo, he was one of those that was kind of smaller, but we loved him. Eric Stryker really wasn't a huge dude, I don't think. I might be wrong on some of these guys. But then now you're getting some of these big dudes. 6'5", 215. He's got a lot of developmental potential. And that's coming from Nagy and Venables, and from what I've heard from scouts. A really good get from Oklahoma to get Matthew Nelson. Arkansas was one of them up there trying to get him, and OU actually got him to cancel visits to Tulsa, Cincinnati, and Tulane after his official visit. So that's how compelling that they were. Also, Daniel Norman, another 4-star from Florida State. From the state of Florida. He was from Thomas Aquinas, one of the premier kind of programs in America. We've had a few players from Thomas Aquinas that we can remember here in the recent history. Committed back in June after his official visit. Held offers from Miami, Colorado, UCLA. Miami being the biggest one, man. Like, being able to outbid for Daniel Norman over Miami is just awesome. Again, listen to the size of this kid. I'm telling you, this is what makes me so excited about this class. 6'4", 235, just a powerful, technical guy. He can set the edge so well as a pass rusher. But then I don't know. I see a lot of talent. He was the number 60 edge talent. All right, let's go to the interior real quick. Inside, you got Brian Harris from Florida. Really excited about him. Again, another guy that I feel a Jaden Jackson type energy from him. And it's not just the play style. I'm not really seeing, I'm not saying he's going to live up to what Jaden Jackson has done on the field, but I'm feeling that from the sense of, like, Jaden Jackson loves Oklahoma, fights for Oklahoma. That's what Brian Harris has been doing. Shout out to Brian Harris. Love the kid and love everything that he's done so far. But originally he was committed to Maryland. Reopened his recruitment, had Penn State, Michigan, Alabama, South Carolina all after him. Ended up coming to Oklahoma. Again, it was like he felt it with Oklahoma, and he was bought 100% all in. He is the definition of 100% all in type of guy. After his unofficial visit to Oklahoma, they won him over. Listen to the size again: 6'3", 290 pounds. You put some meat on that kid, and he's pushing 6'4", 310. And I mean, he's light on his feet. He's a big dude, and he's got some more size that could be added to him. Let's go over to James Carrington. One of the really fascinating story with him too. He committed to Florida State back in June, and then backed off his pledge in August, and within 48 hours. This was one of them too that I hurried up and jumped on because I was like, oh, he decommitted. He's coming to Oklahoma. I feel really good about it. So we talked about him, and I think like within 24 hours of me being able to talk to him, it was already like, hey, he's coming to Oklahoma. And then it was finally official, within probably 30 hours, something like that. Anyways, it was really fast turnaround. 6'2", 275, a little bit undersized compared to the other guys here and to SEC standards. But there's a lot of upside here from this kid, and we got Schmitty. He can pack some weight on him. He can pack some weight on that frame, and who knows, maybe grow him, get him to grow up to 6'3", 6'4". I think 6'2" is a fine height there on the NC side. But Venables actually made a comparison to Grayson Halton a little bit with him. Let's see here. I don't want to skip over anybody, but I'm also trying to get through this really quick because I'm trying to push through here because I know OU Insider is going to be starting here soon, and I'm sure I'm going to lose some of you guys. But anyways, linebacker group. Venables described this linebacker group. He said, got 2 Floridians, an Alabaman, and then the Jandro brothers. Those guys just got a mean streak to them. Let's see. His quote said, those guys just got a mean streak to them. Those guys, man, they're going to strike you. That's the kind of violent stuff that you get from this recruiting class. And stick around because we might hear from the Jandro brothers as well. The Jandro brothers, I'm going to ask them exactly how to say their last name because I know I say it wrong and I don't ever remember. But once they tell me, I'm going to make sure it sticks in my head. But anyways, Jacob Curry. Let's jump over to Jacob Curry in the linebacker group. 4-star, number 31 linebacker from Florida, committed to Northwestern back in May, but Oklahoma came in kind of late summer with Ohio State, Miami, and Florida State. So all of a sudden, a lot of teams started going after him. Oklahoma got him. Sooners won out. Relationships, again, being the key part because Nate Dreiling, he gave Curry that first scholarship back in 2023 when he was at New Mexico State. So he was able to step in with that relationship built. And then, of course, family ties to Oklahoma, really able to seal the deal. He's 6'1", 205 pounds, a very athletic, and again, key to this class, versatile guy. That athleticism, versatility, guess what that plays into in that linebacker group? Kendall Daniels, Kendall Dolby, that cheetah position. I think Desan McCullough played it pretty well over there as well. Of course, going up to Nebraska to play that this past year. Didn't work out too well for him, but that's all right. Then you got Dane Bathurst, a 3-star, number 54 linebacker, originally from Tampa, finished his high school in Indiana. Really weird move there, right? Spent most of 2025 committed to Duke, but then he backed off before signing day, and then Oklahoma was able to mount a push and beat out, for him, it was Vanderbilt and Nebraska. I apologize, hit the microphone. Hopefully that didn't make too much noise. And then he played mostly edge in high school, but Oklahoma really likes him as that off-ball linebacker. So recruiting him as a linebacker, that's the vision, being able to see where he will be later on. Bo Jandro, again, I'm going to make sure that I get his name proper tomorrow. I'll be speaking with the Jandro brothers. Let's get into Bo first. One of the twin duos from Chandler, Arizona, Hamilton High School. Tune in tomorrow because we'll talk to them and get a little bit more from them. There's a few others that we're talking to. Just not sure if we'll get an interview with them or not. But anyways, 3-star again, 3-star. I'll point out more tomorrow. There's no reason why we got to act like these are 3 stars. He chose Oklahoma over Oregon and Texas. And a big part of that, I believe Baylor was also pushing really hard for him. A big part of that was because of his twin brother who committed to Oklahoma just before him. We'll talk about him in just a moment. But Bo's kind of described as that hitman. 6'1", 215, seriously muscled up. Schmitty doesn't even have to worry about these guys. He doesn't have to worry about them missing the weights, man. Go look up Bo Jandro real quick and look him and Nico up, man. Like, you can tell which one is Bo too. I'm pretty sure. And I might be wrong. Maybe I'm just like, oh, wow, okay, never mind. But Bo is the linebacker, and he's just a little bit more like stocky type of build, which is good because you don't really want your your secondary to be that way, So you want it to be a little bit lighter, not as bulked, but both those boys, man, I'm excited to talk to them because those are a couple of jacked human beings. Physical development between those guys, man, won't need much for it there. I mean, their floor is really high. I really believe that. And we'll talk more about them tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow. Matter of getting him really mentally ready for the scheme. Then Christian Moore. This is your classic Nagy find right here. He's from Alabama. He committed to North Alabama, an FCS program. Didn't even get an OU offer until Thanksgiving Day, which was also his birthday, apparently. He jumped on it, took an official visit right away, and secured his spot 4 days later. 3-star, number 167 linebacker. This is one of those Moneyball guys that look at the tape. I can see what Nagy sees in him a little bit, but I'm interested. I'm really interested in him. This is the guy that the front office identified, kind of brought in late, got that commitment. So really excited. Nagy said about the linebacker group, he says they're just innately physical. There's some violence in that group. That's one of the pillars of the program. We're looking for violent players. So really exciting stuff there. Going over to this secondary, we're going to try to fly through this. We got Derek Johnson, one of the highest ranked defensive ends. Anyone, really in the defensive signees that wasn't named Jake Krell. Number 42 cornerback nationally. It was kind of a surprise to get Derek Johnson too. He's from California. He's a Washington legacy. But then he came to Oklahoma on an official visit back in June, and Oklahoma won him over pretty decisively. He canceled his remaining visits. That's how you know, like when they cancel everything else, they're like, all right, I'm home. I don't even need to look at anywhere else. Why would I look anywhere else when I'm committed here? So OU won him over Washington. Again, the fact that he's a legacy there, that's huge. Kansas, Utah, Nebraska. He's 6'2", 170 pounds, got a lot of length on him. That's what I really like. The speed also, he's got some really great instincts. I'm excited. Markel Ford, this is one Oklahoma wanted him. He's from Texas, number 80 in the country, took a long road to the Norman, kind of committed to Oklahoma, he committed to Texas A&M. Then he went to SMU, flipped it to Oklahoma less than 2 weeks before signing day. Brandon Hall just really pushed after him, maintained that relationship. Again, key to the success in this class has been the relationships that this coaching staff has been so great. Not just the coaching staff either, too. It's been the front office doing a really, really good job. He's 6'1", against Markel Ford, 6'1", 200 plus, really lengthy. Again, a rangy, not even lengthy. I would say rangy. I like that better. I don't even know if that's a word, but he can create range despite even really necessarily having the length. At least he doesn't look to me from the pictures that I've seen or even the videos. He doesn't really seem lengthy, like lanky, long. Like I've got really long arms. He doesn't really seem that, but he's got a lot of range to him. He's really physical too, like a Michael Boganovsky kind of physical almost. Maybe not quite. That's probably too much. Michael Boganovsky is a freaking missile, man. Tremendous skills. Venables talked about Markel Ford and said that he'll rip your soul out. That's the mentality that you get out of these guys. And then the last one in the secondary, Nico Jandro, the other twin, 3-star, 136 ranked safety. Again, the Jandro brothers, I'm telling you right now, and you'll hear me talk more about them here tomorrow. They are those guys that I don't know how they're ranked just a 3-star because they play with such heads up. They've got a really high floor. So I mean, there's no way that they aren't just successful in my eyes. And I really hope I'm not jinxing anything, and I don't think I am. I don't believe in that with him. But Nico Jandro, man, one of the safeties, the first defensive commit, I believe, in 2026, if I'm remembering correctly, back in May. Anyways, also from Hamilton High in Arizona, plays with just that head-hunting mentality. Really comfortable out in space, too. That's something that you'll love to see from secondary. He's a guy that you can see him playing in man and zone. Chose Oklahoma over USC, which is really huge, knowing that they just had the best recruiting class. But he chose Oklahoma over USC early on to Iowa State and Arizona State. So I mean, Oklahoma beat out some decent programs there. But anyways, I'm going to skip through a lot of my notes just because I know I'm running late on time. I was hoping to get done before 7 o'clock. But anyways, we'll get to more tomorrow. Make sure to jump in again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Oklahoma just really had a class that really addressed some very specific needs. And it was just the way that this class was built has me more excited, again, than I have ever been about a recruiting class. And I know that's... Don't take that as me trying to hype up this class more than I should. I haven't been covering Oklahoma football for very long. I've paid attention since I was like 12 years old, probably. I'm trying to think back. It was probably around 12 when I was really into football, and I would just look up at the family computer and have to go and look up, the articles and stuff. And back then, it wasn't even as accessible as it is today. But this is a class that just feels like Oklahoma is back to being Oklahoma. It's not ranked high, okay? So don't pay attention to that. I'm telling you right now, this recruiting class has convinced me that the recruiting rankings mean nothing. Because again, we're going to talk more about some of these. 24 young men signed today. The Sooners went into living rooms across the country and said, come be a part of something special. Come play in the SEC. Come play for championships. Compete for championships. And come get developed by one of the best staffs in the country. Let's get excited about these names. You got Bo Bentley, Jonathan Hatton, Deacon Schmidt, Jake Krell, the Jandro brothers. I'm telling you guys right now, there is some really... I think there's going to be names that we're going to hear on Saturday. I'm going to jump over to Stacy's comment real quick. I apologize. I'm not going to get to too many comments tonight unless there was any super chats. But Stacy says, who are you most excited about? What group do you think is best coming in? The best group that I think coming in, that's really tough. I would have to say the defensive line. I think the defensive line just as a whole, interior and edge, that is really good. The one, I'm going to say the one I'm excited about is the Twins, and there's many reasons for that, and I'm excited to talk to them tomorrow too. So make sure to tune in. But they are some of them. I guess never mind. Okay, I'll pick one. The one I'm most excited about, the one that I really feel might be a day one starter, and that's super early to predict, is Jaden Petit. I was on the Jaden Petit train way back when Oklahoma started recruiting him. When he committed to Wisconsin, I wasn't even worried. I truly felt like that's fine. Everyone was like, really? We're going to lose to Wisconsin? Hold on. And I was on social media saying that. I was on here saying that. I was leaning towards it. Hey, like, I'm not going to say names, but this is the time of year that you start to see flips. And it took a lot longer than I thought. I thought Jaden Petit would flip back over, but I knew that they were still pushing, and so I never had a doubt. I truly did not have a doubt with Jaden Petit. So he's one that I'm talking to, and really hoping that we can talk on camera as well. But I would say I think most excited about, if I have to pick just one player, it would be Jaden Petit. I think that's one. Bo Bentley is the obvious one. I really think that there's a high ceiling there, a lot of potential, and building a lot of future around him. And then, man, I don't know, Jake Krell too. That's another tough one. So this is a really tough class to pick one. But I will stick with Jaden Petit being the one that I am most excited about, because it's been a long time since Oklahoma's had a freshman wide receiver step in. And I really think, from what I see, I think he could. Of course, it depends on the situation, right? It depends on what he walks into and who else is there. Maybe they go after some transfer portal guys. Yeah. I see source of is that what that's sour Sofkey? I'm sorry. I'm not sure what that is. Anyways, he says can't hardly wait on the Bo show. Yeah, Bo Bentley is absolutely the case, and sooner. Right back to you. Yeah, Bo Bentley is go watch his film. If you haven't watched much of it, go watch his film. Just look up Bo Bentley. If you have social media, look him up on there. If you look up on, I think he's got a YouTube channel as well. If you know how to access Huddle and get into Huddle and watch his film on there, Bo Bentley has some extremely impressive film. And like I mentioned a moment earlier on, Bo Bentley in his junior year, I was just looking at some of his highlights, and so his junior year was fresh in my mind. He threw for over 3,000 yards. I'm pretty sure it was like 47 touchdowns and threw for 70%. I mean, the kid is incredibly accurate and has an arm to sling the ball. But anyways, that's all we've got for you tonight. Make sure to jump over to OU Insider. Go watch OU Insider right now because they've got an amazing show going on. So go check them out. Parker Thune, Brandon Drum, the team over at OU Insider's got an amazing National Signing Day show going on right now. So jump over to them. I don't want to take any more of their spotlight, stealing it over here. No, anyways, go check them out. Some amazing work that they've done this entire cycle. Go check them out. We'll catch you next time. Boomer.